could get an exotic pet for just a singular dollar, or you could choose to spend $10,000, which for the record is a sixth of the average American's annual salary, all to get one of the rarest, most jaw-dropping exotic pets in the entire world, which is what I will showcase in this video because I just arrived at one of the largest exotic pet expos in order to show you the crazy superhero abilities that each of these exotic pets have to offer.
All right, guys, right now we're looking for the $1 exotic pet. Let's see if we can find it.
And that's when I came across this, which inside holds an isopod known as the milk back isopod, which have a special ability which basically allows them to clean your tank because they like to eat decaying matter, which is pretty disgusting. However, if that fascinates you, you can get one for just a singular dollar. Now that we found the $1 exotic pet, let's move on to the $10 exotic pet, which is commonly known as the Pac-Man frog because it looks just like a Pac-Man. These frogs will literally eat anything that fits into their mouth, including other frogs of the exact same species. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty weird. Because to add to that, unlike other predators who will actively hunt for prey, they literally just sit in one hole they dug out for themselves the entire day, patiently waiting for a juicy meal like a cricket to approach, and then they strike. But if I'm being honest, after a ton of searching, the lowest price I could find one of these crazy exotic pets was actually $16. So I kinda scammed you guys, sorry. I'm sure you'll forgive me though, because one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is that these first exotic pets are just 2 of the 10 different increasing price levels throughout this video, which in my opinion are way cooler than the ones I've showed you guys thus far. Like this $50 lesser ball python morph, which in my opinion honestly kind of looks like a wild type. But after researching on the web, it ensured me that they actually have a slightly lighter pigment, which is what makes them unique. One of the coolest things about this pet, and most of the others still to come, is that you can actually handle and bond with these guys, as long as they aren't aggressive, of course. The special ability that they have is that they are capable of literally squeezing their prey to death, known as constricting. So rethinking the whole handling thing, they might like choke you out or something, I don't know. Continuing our journey, it's finally time to upgrade to our first triple-digit pet, which surprisingly is our first lizard, which is actually commonly known as the banana pectinata. These guys may look green now, but as they mature, they will become a banana-like yellow, which looks absolutely stunning. Those pectinatas are honestly really cool, but for $150 more, you can get a snake that mimics a venomous one that you definitely don't want to mess with, the milk snake. The sick thing about these little critters is that they have bands just like the highly venomous coral snakes to make predators believe that they have a potent bite, when in reality, they are completely harmless, so you don't have to worry. The thing that makes this one even cooler is that it is actually an albino tangerine, which if you didn't know was actually selectively bred over generations to develop this new look, a look that makes this snake have a much more unique appearance. Another crazy thing about this snake is that unlike other carnivores who prey on live animals for a living, milk snakes are a part of the king snake family, which pretty much means that they can eat and digest venomous snakes like copperheads or rattlesnakes with literally no harm at all. That's pretty wild if you ask me. That snake was absolutely insane, and the even weirder part is that we are already on the 5th of the 10 different levels of exotic pets leading up to the $10,000 exotic pet at the end of the video, which I cannot wait to show you guys. But for now, we are going to advance to the $500 exotic pet. I just found this northern blue-tongued skink. These lizards have a ton of unique superpowers, but the one that stood out to me the most was that they actually have very good memories, like recognizing feeding routines or even navigating mazes. They could sometimes even learn to distinguish their owners out from others. All of that tells us that they are incredibly intelligent. Thinking about this now, let me know in the comments if I should like do a cool challenge video with them or something. The other really odd thing about this pet is that they actually are one of the very few reptiles who don't lay eggs. Instead, they actually hatch out of their eggs in their literal mother's stomach. So technically, they give live birth. That is insane. This next pet might be my favorite one yet. These are $1,000 leopard geckos. And my friend over here at Bayside Exotics is going to explain to you exactly what they are, as well as what makes them just so expensive.
So how the lavas were made, they're Black Knight Mandarin tangerines. So basically you take the Mandarin tangerines and you just keep line breeding the darkest ones back to each other, so each generation they get darker and darker and darker. The lavas are basically just an albino form of that. So just basically a lot of line breeding and many years of work.
If that was way too complicated for you, what I took from that was that pretty much you take a bunch of Black Knight Mandarin tangerine leopard geckos, and after line breeding the darkest ones throughout generations, eventually you'll find yourself with a volcanic looking leopard gecko, otherwise known as the lava leopard gecko, which is what makes it so valuable. If there's anyone watching who can explain that better, please feel free to do so in the comments. Now that we've got that sick lizard out of the way, the rest of the pets coming up are so expensive and rare that you almost only see them in zoos. Starting with our $2,500 exotic pet. This is the rhino iguana, and like I mentioned a second ago, you almost exclusively see these guys in zoos because of how large of an enclosure they need and how challenging they are to keep. Rhino iguanas are known for their iconic horn, which if you weren't aware is actually larger on males than females because of something called sexual dimorphism, which pretty much means that males or females have distinct markings or traits that differ from one another, like only male deer have antlers. The other absolutely wild thing that the rhino iguanas have the ability to do is tail whipping their predators or rivals with their long muscular tails. Rhino iguanas are one unit of an animal, but I think it's time to move on to our second to last animal of the entire video. Our $5,000 exotic pet are these Galapagos tortoises. Like most tortoises, these guys get incredibly large and can live for over a century. But the craziest thing about these tortoises is that one day the males will reach about 6 feet long and weigh over 600 pounds. That's insane. What's even more insane, however, is that while searching for our $10,000 exotic pet, I ran into one of the largest pet tubers on the entire platform, Paul Cafera, and asked him if he had seen the $10,000 exotic pet yet. And here's what he said.
I have seen some crazy stuff here, folks. Let me tell you, this place is loaded with a lot of reptiles. And as a matter of fact, down this way, there's a booth. At the very end on the left-hand side, you're going to go take a look. It has a $17,500 pair of tortoises. And if I'm not mistaken, they're either redfoots or cherryheads. I don't remember. It was the first booth I went to, one of the first. But I believe they're redfoots. Insane.
As soon as I heard that, I rushed over to the table as fast as I could and found them. Well, I realized it was $17,000 for the pair. So they weren't truly 10 grand yet. But you know, still cool nonetheless. I kept looking until eventually I found this monitor lizard, which I'm pretty sure is a Quincy monitor. One of their special abilities is that like most monitors, they are very smart. In fact, they are one of the smartest reptiles on the planet. They're also strictly carnivores, so you'd have to enjoy feeding small things like rats to your pets to enjoy this exotic pet. Pretty wild if you ask me. And just like that, we have officially covered a $1 exotic pet all the way up to a $10,000 exotic pet. And it was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below which exotic pet you would choose for $10,000. Me personally, I would pick my parrot Z.